Moose are not only some of the largest animals in the wild, but they are also incredibly dangerous because of their aggressive nature. In this video, we'll delve into 30 moose encounters, ranging from their crazy interactions with hunters to one of these big guys actually going up against a bear. Moose are notoriously erratic animals in the wild, especially if they're threatened, so forget about getting close to them. This hunter, however, is about to pull off something truly spectacular, as he's managed to sneak up super close to this unsuspecting moose. He's hiding in the bushes, perfectly still, and his bow is fully drawn, ready to unleash upon the massive beast. The most impressive thing about the hunter's movement, though, is the fact that he doesn't rush his shot and waits patiently for the perfect opportunity. The shot is perfect, because not only does it land, but it also sends the moose running away. After all, the beast could have easily turned around and attacked the hunter if things hadn't gone according to plan. Let's look at what happens when you don't pull off the perfect shot, because this hunter's up against one of the biggest moose you'll see in the wild, and he's not hidden in the bushes either. He knows he's in trouble as soon as he lands his shot, and his intuition's right, because the beast doesn't even hesitate for a split second before charging the hunter at full speed. Seeing such a massive moose coming at you has to be extremely terrifying. Luckily, the hunter dodges out of the way in the nick of time, letting the moose race into the wilderness. This hunter has spotted an Alaskan bull moose hiding in the red bushes, and now he has to get closer without startling the beast to get his shot. However, the hunter's in for a bit of a surprise, because he hasn't seen what the moose actually looks like.
Okay.
It's an incredibly stressful situation as the bull moose slowly reveals itself to the hunter. It gets incredibly close, too, so much so that it's staring right into the hunter's soul. But at this point, the hunter does not pull the trigger and lets the moose run away.
Okay. Whoa, boy. Look at his eyes. Whoa. Back off. Back off. No, that's right.
It turns out that despite being bigger than the hunter, the moose wasn't big enough for the hunter to shoot. Well, at least that's what he says, because there's every chance he backed out to avoid a potential attack. This is one of the scariest moose you'll see in the wild, as not only is it absolutely massive, but it's also carrying some battle scars and what looks like tattered cloth on its antlers. Seriously, you don't want to mess with this guy. To make matters worse, the moose has already spotted the hunter in the distance and is shaking its head to warn him. The hunter doesn't seem to be getting the memo, though, and stands his ground instead. We all know what's coming next, don't we? Within seconds, the moose goes from 0 to 100 and charges the hunter. As for the hunter, well, he panics and starts running like there's no tomorrow. And hey, at least he does avoid the attack. This hunter has just spotted a giant Alaskan moose hiding under the bushes, and now he has to get up close without startling the beast to get a good angle for his shot. The moose is well hidden, and there's not much the hunter can aim for here. The chances of failure are high. The crazy thing, though, is he doesn't even have a bullet in the chamber and only gets the rifle going on his second attempt. But he does land his shot and sends the moose running. That said, the hunter's a lucky boy because that first click could easily have resulted in the beast charging him. This large bull moose may have spotted the hunter hiding in the bushes, but it's still got no idea what's about to happen, because rather than charging the guy, it stands there and stares at him instead. The moose does know that it's in danger, though, as it deliberates over whether to take the next step. And, well, as soon as it gingerly starts moving forward, the hunter tightens his bowstring and prepares his shot.
Hey, get away. Hey.
Interestingly, the shot doesn't even look like it had a big impact on the moose, as it flinches and runs away.
There. He's got lungs.
It just goes to show how resilient these beasts can be. Now here's something straight out of a horror movie. A massive moose coming through the mist is as scary as it gets. The people recording don't have any weapons on them, so if the moose does decide to charge them, they're definitely toast. To be fair, though, the beast doesn't seem to be in a bad mood and only makes its way through the bushes slowly. But here's the thing, the people recording really want to play with fire and keep getting close to the moose with just a paddle. They've got Lady Luck on their side, but not everyone will get this close to a wild moose and come out unscathed. Now let's head over to Maine, where these people have spotted a big bull moose on the side of the road. The beast seems to be minding its own business, but driving a car through there is still not the smartest option.
Look at this boy. He is huge. Look at the
But these guys know what they're doing. One of them has a horn that can mimic a moose call, so now they're going to try to sway it over to the other side of the road. And just like that, these people have whispered sweet nothings into the moose's ear and convinced it to clear the road. Better yet, they keep blowing the horn to make sure it gets deep into the forest and doesn't bother anyone on the trail again. Making a moose cross the road is one thing. But what happens when one of these big guys decides to sit in the middle of the road and refuses to move out of the way? Well, it turns out moving a 1,000-pound animal isn't exactly child's play. The prodding doesn't work on the beast at all. In fact, when the person finally gets the moose off the ground, it just sits down again, almost as if it doesn't even care. That said, since this is a cow moose, the guy with the stick isn't in any danger. But the guy's persistence finally pays off as he pokes the moose off the cold, slippery road and clears the path forward.
Come on. Come on. There you go. Good girl.
Moose are notoriously erratic animals, especially when they are alone in the wild. So even if one comes up to you looking all friendly, you should move out of the way. These people, however, haven't gotten the memo.
О, нашел еду.
Everything looks fine as the moose walks up to every person to get some pets and treats. But one moment of panic is all it'll take for this big guy to wreak havoc, and well, that's exactly what happens. Thankfully, the moose runs off after attacking the young girl. After all, who knows how things would have turned out if it had stayed there and continued with its onslaught.
Так, все. Все, пожалуйста.
Now, what do you do when there's a massive bull charging you and you don't have anything to defend yourself with? Well, apparently climbing a tree is a pretty safe strategy in that situation. The bull moose charges right up to the tree, only to be confused by its target's absence. It doesn't just go on its way after that, though. Instead, the savage beast stays there to track the guy down. Luckily, moose can't climb trees. Here's a rare encounter where the moose is actually not the aggressive animal. The cow moose has just walked up to the window to eat some grass and doesn't even care about the dog barking at it. With that said, the dog is lucky that this is a cow moose, which is very docile in nature as compared to their male counterparts. As for the dog, well, it shouldn't make enemies out of animals that are 5 times its size. Despite their reputation, moose aren't always wrecking things and charging people. Sometimes they can be just as silly as any other animal. This guy, for instance, is walking up to the car just to get a taste of that sweet metal.
Oh my goodness, baby.
What's even crazier is the fact that the beast keeps licking the car for what feels like an eternity. And at no point does it display any aggressive behavior, which is super rare for big moose like these. I'm pretty sure a car's not healthy for the moose. Let's switch gears and head over to Alaska, where this guy has had to pull out his gun to stop a charging moose. Interestingly, the moose does slow down after seeing the weapon, meaning it's been through this situation before.
Oh! Stop it! Get behind me, baby. No! Back up slowly.
The guy keeps the gun pointed toward the moose, while also moving out of the way, which is essentially what you should do when you encounter an aggressive beast like this.
Behind the thing, actually.
Eventually, the moose has enough room to run past them, so everyone gets through the scary situation without any damage. Sure, wild moose are dangerous and erratic, but can you actually befriend them and change that behavior? Well, it turns out you definitely can. This photographer has been around this moose since it was little, so it's used to his presence. The massive moose slowly walks up to the photographer, sniffs his camera, and instantly recognizes its friend. In fact, it even tilts its head forward to get some pets. What a heartwarming moment between two old friends. Here's an incredibly scary encounter as a moose walks up to a group of kids jumping on a trampoline. Now, any slight movement from the children could result in a brutal attack, so they've got to remain incredibly still and not antagonize the beast. The kids know the danger, though, and remain calm in the situation. Besides, the moose seems to be minding its own business, sniffing the grass around the area. Luckily, this moose was just curious and wasn't in the mood for a fight. So after snooping around for a while, it simply peacefully walks away. That was very scary, though. Even though moose are some of the most aggressive animals in the wild, sometimes you've got to give them a taste of their own medicine and answer back with some aggression of your own. The shout and wide stance from the guy totally neutralizes the moose's charge. If anything, it actually makes the beast nervous as it droops its ears and stands there looking confused. To send the moose running back, however, the guy has to turn his theatrics up to 11 and act like some sort of caveman war chief. Even though it looks a little over the top, the guy actually succeeds and scares the moose away. This man just had one of the strangest experiences of his life as he woke up to a wild moose attacking his car. But that's not even the scary bit, because when he ran out to scare the beast away, it decided to retaliate in the worst way possible.
After chasing it away from his vehicle, Olsen was intrigued by the up-close encounter with the moose. He grabbed
There was something clearly wrong with the moose, as it didn't want to run away at all. If anything, it got even more aggressive and started charging the guy in an incredibly erratic manner. It turns out the moose actually had a brain parasite bothering it, and the damage was so bad that the poor guy couldn't be saved. So rather than letting the dangerous moose go and attack other people, the authorities had to stop its suffering and put it down. Here's a textbook example of what you should not do when you encounter a moose in the wild. Despite being warned by everyone around him, this man is adamant about touching the beast and won't back down without doing it.
Go ahead, try it. Go ahead, try it. See what happens.
The moose isn't aggressive initially, but we all know you shouldn't pester these big guys. So as soon as the guy gets close and touches the beast, it turns and starts charging the guy. And to make matters worse, the guy actually slips while running away. He's lucky to escape unscathed, because this is exactly how you lose your life. These photographers have just spotted 2 moose swimming in the lake, and now they're rushing to their canoes to get up close and capture some shots.
I think we can get shots from the canoe. Get down to the canoe and see if we can kayak out there.
These guys need to be extremely careful, as one slight movement could either scare the beasts away or make them angry. So they slowly get closer without any aggressive paddling.
As a natural defense, especially when in water, moose will often flee if they sense any potential danger. While it wasn't our intention.
But of course, the moose could sense these guys coming from a mile away, which is why they leave the lake as soon as the photographers get too close.
Wow, look at him go. Woo! That is incredible. Look at the strength of that animal. Boom, just like that, off into the weeds.
It wasn't a total disappointment, though, as the guys did get the shots they wanted. Now, what if you're just not agile enough to climb a tree to avoid a moose? Well, sometimes you can hide behind trees to escape their gaze as well. To be fair, this is as big as a moose can get, and it's terrifying, so trying to do anything other than running or hiding could be deadly. Plus, the beast knows the man is behind the tree. It just ignores him because he's not blocking its path. These majestic creatures deserve some respect. If you're still somehow unsure about the sheer scale of a full-size moose, you're in for a treat. This guy right here is bigger than 2 cars combined, and yet it's powerful enough to not only outrun the car next to it, but actually destroy it. If you spot a massive moose on the road like this, don't try to follow it. This guy is just putting some stuff in the shed on what he thinks will be just another average morning, but he's about to have one of the craziest encounters of his life. There's a massive moose slowly walking up to him, and for a while the guy is totally oblivious to his surroundings. Thankfully, he spots the big guy before it can charge him, and he locks himself up in his shed. It's a scary situation, as the moose is very much capable of wrecking the entire shed. But after feeling a little offended over having a door shut in its face, the moose eventually leaves the man alone. Let's head over to Alaska, where a massive moose is casually strolling through town without causing any trouble. The moose is probably used to seeing cars, which is why it doesn't act aggressively when it encounters one. The people filming also know what they're doing, as they completely stop their car to let the big guy pass through. After all, even accustomed moose can sometimes display dangerous behavior, especially if they are startled. The majestic animal even has a battle scar on its hind leg, probably caused by some predator, since no one can attack these big guys head on, so predators have to damage their legs to slow them down. These tourists have just spotted a couple of moose swimming in the lake and are clamoring to take some photos. What they don't realize, however, is that they don't want to disturb these animals. Things could get real nasty here. The moose is shaking its antlers, which clearly means it's feeling nervous and wants these people to go away. But once again, they don't understand that and keep standing on the edge, waiting to be attacked. And well, just like that, the moose's patience runs out as it launches into a charge. Thankfully, everyone gets out of the way in the nick of time and hides behind the trees. Lesson learned. This man was out walking his dogs when he experienced a truly harrowing thing, a moose attack. Apparently, a cow moose turned up out of nowhere, and before he even had a chance to run away, the moose was already on top of him.
Turn to run or get behind a bigger tree or something. By the time I recognized that she was coming right at me, I was...
Now, female moose aren't usually that aggressive, but this one had a calf with her, meaning she was going to attack everything in her path to it. It wasn't even a tackle that fractured the man's hand, though. Just the sheer weight of the moose was enough to injure him.
Next thing he knows, the cow is on top of him.
Sidearm was on my right side, but I'm like, I probably should pull this...
The only reason he even got out of the attack was that he had his gun on him, and he somehow fired 2 shots and scared the moose away.
And fired some shots to scare her, because she's probably going to kick me again.
So he fired 2 shots into the ground, which did scare her off, giving him time to get away.
This massive bull moose has managed to walk into a public park where a bunch of people are playing sports and walking their dogs. It's an extremely dangerous situation, and everyone should evacuate the park immediately. And yet, that's not what happens at all.
Hey guys! Dude, what is that guy doing?
Sure, remaining calm and not moving can be a good strategy sometimes, but this moose is clearly looking for a fight and won't hesitate to charge someone down. In fact, it even starts chasing a dog around the park. One man is stuck, though, with just a tree separating him from the moose. Luckily, he is smart enough to juke the beast and escape the scary situation.
Careful.
A moose charging you is truly terrifying, but what if you get caught between 2 of these big boys having a wrestling match? Well, that's a recipe for disaster, and you don't want to be anywhere near them, like this guy.
Oh, Ma! Ma, come outside, there's a moose! Or a buffalo or some shit, they're fighting!
The moose are locking horns and attacking with maximum aggression, and it's only a matter of time until they run into someone's property and totally destroy it. At least this guy's smart enough to end his recording and run away when they get close, because things could have been really brutal otherwise.
There's animals fighting in the front lawn! Oh, shit!
What's the #1 arch nemesis of a massive white moose? Well, it turns out a robot lawnmower is pretty high on the list, as this big guy absolutely hates the idea of cleanly cut grass. To be fair, the lawnmower does interrupt the beast while it's eating leaves off of a tree, so maybe the moose is right to be mad. But here's the thing. After the initial hit, the albino moose continues circling the poor lawnmower, setting up for another deadly attack. And yep, the lawnmower stands no chance of fighting against this massive behemoth.